weird amount to talk about. And I guess to open up about the caterpillar and the butterfly, if I call myself a caterpillar this time about 4 years ago, there was a certain point in time in my development, learning, being taught from the Sheikh and others in the order, where I had no access to any type of writing like that from Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba. But after crawling around trying to figure things out down on the bottom level and bumping into things, realizing that I can't get over these things because I'm crawling around and there's a whole bunch of obstacles in my way. How in the world can I get over these obstacles? Just continue on the path. There's a realization that happens along the way if you follow the recommendations of the sheikh, follow the recommendations of the teacher, follow your prophet, because your prophet is going to lead you back to God. And somewhere along that way, I realized that there was something that could go on the inside of me that would allow me to go perch up on that tree. This caterpillar just kind of had to climb up it and then hang from it for a while, enter into chrysalis, and then cease being a caterpillar, and then burst out of that cocoon and turn into a butterfly. Now it doesn't have to worry about crawling around on the forest floor, scourging, bumping into things, obstacles in the way that it can't get over. Now it flies freely and it goes where it wants. It can soar in the heights. In regards to the West African educational system as taught by Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba, and then by the second caliph, Serene Salihu, by the third caliph, Serene Abdul Ahad Mbake, all of the others down to the one we have in our midst today, Serene Mumtaka Mbake. May Allah be pleased with the work that all of them have done and are doing. With that level of structure in a indigenous oriented West African education system, there are teachings that allow us as what we call a human being to rise above a state that we are currently in to a state above where we are at that sometimes we think that we might not even have access to. There was a point in time, God, when I couldn't read in Arabic like that. Granted, I had to, sit here and go through this over and over and over and over and mispronounce a few things and try to speed up my recitation. And then I realized, like, all of this is Quran. Everything in the Word of Mahfuz is Quran. So if I'm reading this, then I'm actually studying the Quran. So I went word by word, letter by letter, accent mark by accent mark, and was able to transliterate the Arabic into English letters with the Western mind so that I can read it. But also now able to write that backwards so it goes along with the way that Arabic is written from right to left. This time, like 7 to 10 years ago, God, I didn't know how to write anything from this way to that way with squiggly letters and then turn around and read it and then transliterate it and then translate it, albeit slow. So there was a metamorphosis that happened between then and now. There was a process in that educational system that he pioneered that allowed little old me in Macon, Georgia to be able to not only just read English from left to right, because of course they translate these poems into English so we can understand them, but they're also transliterated. So now we can read it with English letters, but when we pronounce them, it's actually sounding like the Arabic words we would be reading. But when you have the English and the transliteration and the Arabic all on the page at the exact same time, now the type of mind that can now understand three different ways of language is the butterfly. It is now soaring above that level of just getting it from a translation and hoping the person that translated it from Arabic or Wolof did it right, and then trying to understand is deep poem or panegyric. Now you progress a little bit. You climb up this tree, and you start to hang for a little bit, and hold on to this rope, hold on to this little thing that attaches you to this branch. That's the only security that you got right now with this metamorphosis that you're about to go through. Because now you've figured out how to take the translation and then flip it into transliteration. So you can read it with English letters, but it comes out sounding like Arabic words because you're spelling what you're reciting with English letters. And now the mind has another level and layer of reading, writing, and interpreting a language. And now you partner all of that with learning the Arabic language, even if it's just self-driven and self-taught. And if you make a connection between an English word, an English Arabic transliteration, and an Arabic word, dang if that ain't a butterfly, dang if that ain't somebody soaring on 3 different levels of consciousness, able to read something multiple ways at the same time sometimes, or depending on how they talk about it, can explain it in 3 different stages of beauty. Somebody that can tap into something like that through a system as clear and concise as what Sheikh Abdul Bamba left is no longer a caterpillar. Like, he's not crawling around on the ground, bumping into hurdles and obstacles. Dang, how do I figure out what this word means in this language and what this word means in that language? He's not doing that anymore because now he just translated and transliterated something from a whole other language into a way that now he can understand it. And within all that, is done in a way that if he reads it to somebody, it's transliterated in the middle. So now he can translate it if he knows what those words mean when he sees them. I couldn't explain that 5 to 7 years ago. Like, how to break down a language 3 different ways. You know, that's not a caterpillar mind at all, I don't think. Because now there are no hurdles. Like, that was like a key that unlocks something up here, and then neurons connected, and boom, they made a connection. Now those connections are there. The only thing that can strip them away from me is Alzheimer's. But as long as I keep working this thing out, bro, I guarantee you I'll never wind up being stricken with Alzheimer's. I know that much.
So the caterpillar could be a representation of taking a shahada.
Ooh, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. You know, you're no longer searching around trying to figure out what this thing is that you're seeking and bumping into all kind of hurdles and obstacles in the world that are honestly just distractions from that one thing that everybody is seeking. But when you finally have a realization that these Muslim brothers are always peaceful, like they profess this unity of God, and they don't show any distinction between prophets. They really don't get into spiritual arguments with people. They just talk about God and the prophets and teach. That's a pretty nice way of living. Like, oh, that's a connection. They just realize something. And when they go in there, they have to testify or bear witness, shahada, that they just realized it. There is no God but one God. And God sent a messenger to everybody on the face of the earth at different points in times throughout history to give them one thing, the way to get back to God consciousness, God, a way to get back to our original state when man was as furthest away from it as was safe for him to be. Because if he'd have went any further, he'd have went into destruction, self-destruction, crumbling from the inside. So at that point, this person is no longer crawling around. He's in the perfect spot hanging on to this rope of Allah, because I'm pretty sure a Muslim brother in that mosque gave him his first set of prayer beads, gave him his first Quran, got a few phone numbers exchanged, made some new friends, got some questions answered. So now they up there in Chrysalis, they're figuring stuff out, right? They're putting stuff together, but what they don't realize is when they're putting stuff together, something is being taken apart. That thing that used to be a caterpillar, because it's going to no longer exist as a caterpillar anymore. When you finish putting all of these pieces together that it takes to be a Muslim, Islam being based on 5 principles or 5 pillars, now you're at a point where you're able to or ready to burst out of that cocoon, start to stretch those wings. And when you realize how deep Islam is and bump into something called Sufism, whoo, yeah, fly. And for the haters, if you don't like what I say, fly away. But that's also a positive thought and a prayer, right? Because you have, in order for you to fly away, you also have to be a butterfly. I even want the haters to fly. I don't want y'all to crawl around on the ground no more either.
Being official, big dog in the yard.